Accordingly, based upon his conduct and based upon the record before this court, recognizing the standards that govern this court's sentencing decisions as set forth in State v. Toohill, I hereby sentence Mr. Kohberger as follows. On count 1, burglary, 10 years fixed, 0 years indeterminate. I also impose a fine of $50,000. Count 2, first-degree murder of Madison Mogan. I sentence the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole.
The horrific events that unfolded in Moscow, Idaho, on November 13, 2022, shattered the tranquility of a close-knit college community and sent shockwaves across the nation. 4 bright University of Idaho students, Ethan Chapin, Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogan, and Xana Kernodle, were brutally murdered in an off-campus home, leaving behind a mystery that captivated and terrified millions. This wasn't just a local crime. It became a chilling testament to how quickly safety can be ripped away, even in the most serene settings. Hi guys, grab a cup of coffee and settle in for this thrilling true crime story. I'd love to know where you're watching this video from. Let me know in the comments. Don't hesitate to join the conversation too. Your thoughts and input are a vital part of this story. Kindly support us by subscribing to this channel and turn on the notification bell icon so you won't miss any of our newest stories. Okay, let's continue. For weeks, an unseen killer stalked the shadows of Moscow, Idaho. The initial confusion and lack of immediate answers from authorities only fueled the mounting anxiety. Every shadow seemed to hold a threat, every stranger a potential danger. The town, accustomed to quiet nights and open doors, suddenly found itself grappling with a pervasive, unsettling fear. The silence from law enforcement was deafening to a terrified public, desperate for a breakthrough. Then, a single elusive detail emerged: the mention of a white Hyundai Elantra, spotted near the crime scene in the dead of night. It was a tantalizing clue, offering a glimmer of hope, yet also deepening the mystery. Who was driving that car? And what was their connection to the unspeakable horror at 1122 King Road? This single vehicle became a focal point, a silent witness to a crime that defied comprehension, leaving everyone on edge and hungry for answers. The breakthrough, when it finally came, felt like a scene ripped from a psychological thriller. After weeks of relentless investigation, a crucial piece of physical evidence, a knife sheath found at the scene, yielded the DNA that would ultimately lead investigators to their prime suspect. The hunt intensified, culminating in a dramatic cross-country chase that ended in Pennsylvania with the arrest of Bryan Kohberger. The revelation was stunning. Kohberger, a criminology PhD student at Washington State University just a few miles from the crime scene, was taken into custody on 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary. The irony of a criminology student allegedly committing such a heinous crime was a twist that defied belief, adding another layer of unsettling complexity to an already horrifying case. It left many questioning how someone so immersed in the study of crime could allegedly commit such an act, and whether his academic pursuits were a cover, or perhaps a dark inspiration. Yet, even with an arrest, the most profound question lingered. Why? What motive could possibly drive such a horrific act? Bryan Kohberger's background as a criminology student added a chilling layer of intrigue, but offered no answers to the why. Investigators revealed that Kohberger's cell phone had pinged in the vicinity of the victim's home on multiple occasions prior to the murders, suggesting a disturbing pattern of surveillance. But the true intent behind these visits and the specific reason for targeting these 4 vibrant young lives remained shrouded in mystery. This inexplicable void in motive is perhaps the most unsettling aspect of the entire case, leaving a lingering sense of unease and a stark reminder that some evils may never be fully understood. The silence from the accused only amplified this eerie lack of explanation, creating a profound, agonizing void for the victims' families. The legal journey that followed was as complex as it was emotionally charged. Initially, prosecutors indicated they would seek the death penalty, a decision that weighed heavily on all involved. The prospect of a lengthy, grueling trial loomed, promising to drag the victims' families through every horrific detail once more. However, in a significant turn of events, a plea agreement was reached. Bryan Kohberger, facing overwhelming evidence, opted to plead guilty to all charges in exchange for avoiding the death penalty. This decision, while offering a form of resolution, brought mixed emotions to the forefront for the victims' families. For some, it meant an end to the agonizing uncertainty of a trial, a chance to begin the long process of healing. For others, it was a compromise they struggled to accept, feeling that true justice remained elusive without a public trial and a full accounting of Kohberger's actions. The complexities of the justice system, in this instance, became a deeply personal and often divisive path to a difficult conclusion. Then came the day of reckoning, July 23, 2025. The Ada County Courthouse in Boise, Idaho, was a crucible of raw emotion. Families of Ethan, Kaylee, Madison, and Xana stood before Bryan Kohberger, their voices etched with an unimaginable grief that no verdict could ever truly soothe. They spoke of futures stolen, dreams extinguished, and the gaping void left by their loved one's absence. Through their powerful words, they painted a vivid picture of the beautiful lives brutally cut short. One family member spoke of constant fear, unable to feel safe even in their own home, double-checking locks and living in a perpetual state of panic.
What
From
I
original
thought
document.
that something like this would have happened to my closest friends. I thought that we were going to wake up and go upstairs, see them and tell them how they had scared us and that they were going to tease us about how we are constantly scaredy cats. I make jokes about it as we would go to Taco Bell like always. But sadly, that is not what happened and what turned out to be my worst nightmare.
Another expressed how the brutal act shattered their ability to trust, stealing not just lives but also a sense of security and innocence. The court heard how sleep became a luxury, replaced by terror and recurring nightmares, a constant reminder of the horrific night. When given the opportunity to speak, Bryan Kohberger, dressed in an orange prison jumpsuit, remained silent, offering no remorse, no explanation, just a chilling void. Judge Stephen Hippler, presiding over the proceedings, acknowledged the profound, unanswerable question of why. He stated that there was no reason for these crimes that could approach anything resembling rationality, and that seeking an explanation for the unexplainable would only give more power to the perpetrator. In a pronouncement that brought a definitive, albeit painful, close to this chapter, Judge Hippler sentenced Bryan Kohberger to 4 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole, 1 for each of the young lives he took. An additional 10 years were added for the burglary charge, along with significant fines and civil penalties payable to the victims' families. Kohberger was ordered to provide a DNA sample and will remain imprisoned for the rest of his life. He waived his right to appeal as part of the plea agreement, though the judge noted a notice of appeal could still be filed, potentially violating the agreement. The sentence brought a measure of finality, but for the families, the journey of grief and healing would continue, marked forever by the devastating impact of that horrific night. The impact of this case will resonate for generations. The University of Idaho community, forever scarred, continues to heal and remember the lives lost. For the families, while legal proceedings have concluded, the daily reality of their loss is an ongoing journey of grief and remembrance. This tragic story serves as a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of violence and the enduring strength required to find a path forward in the face of unspeakable tragedy. While justice has been served in the courtroom, the true legacy of Ethan, Kaylee, Madison, and Xana lies in the love and memories cherished by those they left behind. Their story continues to serve as an educational and informational account of the devastating consequences of such crimes and the resilience of the human spirit. We extend our deepest sympathies to all those affected by this profound tragedy, and we credit the tireless efforts of law enforcement and the courage of the victims' families whose contributions brought this complex case to its legal conclusion. If this story resonated with you, please take a moment to like this video, share it with others who appreciate true crime deep dives, and most importantly, subscribe to 24/7 True Crime Chronicles, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next compelling story. Your support helps us bring these important narratives to light. Thank you for watching.